Miami Dolphins reporting for voluntary activities. I got some more Dalvin Cook news for you. What is up, Finn fans? Yes, the Miami Dolphins today, and a lot of the NFL teams today, reported for voluntary team activities. Dalvin Cook didn't show up for the Vikings. I know Saquon didn't show up for the Giants. I know Josh Jacobs didn't show up for the Raiders. I know Evan Ingram didn't show up. I think he's with the Jags still. But it's voluntary. Tron Armstead's probably not there. Real quick, let me scoot it. Boom. Tua, Connor Williams, also Duke Riley showing up. Look at our fat quarterback. Look at that fat quarterback. Good morning, Tua. He needs to lose some weight. He's looking real fat. I can't believe people are really out here saying Tua's looking fat. Also, I want to show you something real quick. I got this video here of Austin Jackson. He's doing some workouts. Austin Jackson training with Turin Wilson. Again, I would absolutely love for him to prove me wrong and for him to have a huge year four. An absolute huge year four. Some other news real quick before I get into the organized team activities. I'll pop it up. Probably gonna be all. We got chosen Robbie Anderson officially signing with the Miami Dolphins. Some people are upset about that, and I'll talk about that in a second. And I'll show you some more pictures. Raheem Mostert showing up. Jalen Phillips showing up. Robert Hunt showing up, and Duke Riley showing up. So everyone's pretty much. I don't know the exact amount of people who are there for OTAs. This isn't even OTAs. This is voluntary training. This is just, all right, come on in. This is essentially saying to the players, come on in and work out here. Work out here, meet with our training staff here. If you have a nagging injury, work out here and get into shape, and then the draft, and then after the draft is the OTAs. I think before the draft is the OTAs. I made a video about it. Nope, we got it here. May 22nd is OTAs. So after the draft starts the OTAs. But real quick, before we get more into Dalvin Cook news, because it's really heating up. The fact that he didn't show up, but again, it's voluntary. I got some little tidbits I do want to talk about Dalvin Cook some more. Robbie Anderson, some people are upset that the Dolphins signed Robbie Anderson. We don't know the contract details, and it's probably nothing. He's probably getting nothing guaranteed. It's, we all know he has off the field issues. It's probably a big old come in, compete, keep out of trouble, and if not, you're gone. Plain and simple. So I'm all right with it. High risk, low reward. I'm incredibly okay with that. So that being said, let's get to Dalvin Cook real quick. Barry Jackson, you guys know I love Barry Jackson, came out with an article today saying what Dolphins did that kept alive chances of Cook or running back on second day of the draft. So he says the Dolphins quickly checked their running back box off of the offseason needs in March by re-signing Mostert, Wilson, Ahmed, Gaskin. With fullback Alec Ingold also under contract, Miami seems set with a running back group, barring injuries, he says. But it's apparently not so simple in this case. Looks can be deceiving. The Dolphins have shown interest in several running backs in pre-draft process, suggesting not opposed to slightly altering the status quo. And they continue to be linked with Minnesota running back Dalvin Cook, whose future with the Vikings is very much in question. The Dolphins and Vikings already have discussed a trade for Cook this offseason, but the trade didn't happen, in part because the sides could not agree on draft pick compensations that would go to Minnesota, according to a source. In the meanwhile, Vikings management remains non-committal about whether the four-time Pro Bowler will be back on the team this season. And they said, I am told all options are on the table, Jeremy Fowler says, here, and they could be released closer to the draft if things don't work out. I'm going to talk about that. According to a source, the Dolphins are expected to inquire about Cook if he's released, and though Cook would be fine staying with Minnesota, the Dolphins would be among the teams of interest to him if he's released. What's unclear is how much Miami is willing to pay him. Of course, we're not going to overpay him. The Dolphins can still pursue Cook or draft a running back in the second or third round because they protected themselves contractually with all 4 of their veteran tailbacks. If any opportunity arises for Miami to add a player that they consider better, they can move on from any of the 4 with little to no financial consequences. So he says, consider. None of Gaskin's $1 million salary is guaranteed, and his $975,000 cap hit would shrink to no dead cap hit if he's cut before or after June 1st. So once Gaskin agreed to the terms, there's no risk on re-signing him or moving on from him. Ahmed, who surpassed Gaskin as the number 3 back late in the offseason, appears slightly less at risk. It's about $500,000. I already talked about that, right? Mostert seems safe, even though the Dolphins add Cooks. It's notable that his $2.187 million dead cap number for 2023 shrinks to $650,000 dead if it's after June 1st, if he gets traded after June 1st. Wilson, $2.2 million dead 23 dead cap shrinks to $782,000 if he's traded after June 1st. So apparently, now I'm gonna go off tangent, and we're gonna talk about some things, because a lot of this article, and go check out Barry Jackson's article, he talks about all the running backs that the Dolphins seem interested in, yada yada, this, that. The Dolphins got all 4 of their running backs in free agency for $8 million. And like you see, all of them, if they move on from any of them after June 1st, they save a substantial amount of cap space compared to their contract. It's not like tens of millions of dollars. That being said, right, I think what happened, and again, this is me speculating. I speculated real quick. I want to show you guys something. Because you guys watch my videos, which I love and I appreciate every single one of you. Couldn't say enough if I tried. Also, real quick, I didn't show this. No, it's a little cropped, but Jalen Ramsey was also at voluntary team activities. But I want to show you something. You guys know that my prediction, or my, I'm just throwing it out there, that the Dolphins, when the 3rd round comes, they'd hit up the Vikings, say, hey, we'll take Dalvin Cook, we'll take his contract, and a 4th from you, and we'll send you a 3rd and Cedric Wilson Jr., right? I said that like a week ago. On Twitter, I saw this. There have been talks about a potential trade with the Vikings that would send Dalvin Cook and a 4th to Miami exchange for Wilson and a 3rd. Am I a source now? If that's the case, NFL notification, I appreciate you putting my stuff out there, because if I'm a source, that's fantastic and it's awesome. Let me get back to Dalvin Cook real quick. If the Dolphins want to get Dalvin Cook, they can get Dalvin Cook. I think what happened is they signed Raheem Mostert. They hit up the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings probably wanted a 2nd or something ridiculous, and he's still rehabbing his shoulder. So the Dolphins were like, we're not going to give you a 2nd. Also, he won't pass physicals because he, back in April, he just got his surgery done. So that's not the case. We'll keep in contact. We'll, blah, blah, blah. And then they went out and they re-signed all their running backs to a cap-friendly deal, like Barry Jackson said. I think at this point, what's happening is, right, they're keeping an eye on Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook was running with one shoulder. If you go, there's a video that Reason put on Finside the NFL. Go check it out, where they interviewed his agent, and his agent was saying he was running with one shoulder. So you could tell the way he was running, he wasn't running the way he used to. He was kind of favoriting the other shoulder. He's got the surgery. He's going to be running hard, yada, yada. They paid him essentially one shoulder's worth of money. So he thinks that, he's not going to be a Viking. He's going to move on. And I think what's happening is he can't pass physicals. He's still being rehabbed. And if the Minnesota Vikings wait till after June 1st, so if they trade or cut him now, they save $6 million in cap space. If they trade or cut him after June 1st, they save $9 million in cap space. What other team do you know after June 1st is going to get $13.6 million in cap space? The puzzle pieces are just fitting together too well. And like Barry Jackson said, we can move on from Jeff Wilson. I think that would probably be the play. If the Dolphins did somehow get Dalvin Cook, they'd probably move on from Jeff Wilson. They'd probably, post June 1st, either trade him or do something and move on from him. Or they'd move on from Ahmed. But these are all post June 1st stuff. So I think what happens is if they can get Dalvin Cook, they'd have Dalvin Cook, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, Savon Ahmed, and Myles Gaskin, and probably like one or two undrafted free agents, be the running backs in training camp. And then when the cuts happen, or if a running back goes down and there's an availability for a trade, Jeff Wilson, you trade one of the running backs to that trade, running back needy team now. I think that's what's going to happen. Let me address something real quick, too, because when I talked about this last time, a lot of people were like, oh, well, we don't need a running back. We need offensive line help. You guys know, for weeks on weeks on weeks, I was complaining and saying all this stuff about right tackle and how they're not doing right tackles. They bring in Robbie Anderson. It's not a right tackle, yada, yada. I'm done with that crusade. I'm not going to keep crying and complaining about it because it is what it is. But if they can get Dalvin Cook, that all of a sudden changes the aspect of this offense. All of a sudden, the defense has to now respect Dalvin Cook. Yes, our right tackle might not be the greatest, but you can run through it and Dalvin Cook can still produce behind an okay offensive line. You know what I'm saying? So if they go out and get Dalvin Cook, and if it is possible that they bring in Dalvin Cook, then all of a sudden, like I said, the defense now, you can't drop your guys 10 yards back and do what the Chargers and the 49ers, 2 was just off. Everyone was open. But the Chargers game, you can't drop guys 10 yards back and allow everything underneath, because then we're just going to run with Dalvin Cook. You now have to respect that. So you have to play a type of defense where you're also trying to take the middle of the field away, but you're also trying to protect against the run. And then you got, if we can add Dalvin Cook for the right price and for the right pick, if he doesn't get cut, I'm going to be ecstatic. But again, it all depends on the right price and the right pick. And I think that's what the Dolphins are thinking as well. They didn't trade for him because the pick wasn't right. The compensation wasn't right. So if he gets cut, again, like Barry Jackson said, it all depends on what he wants. But I'm hearing he wants to play in Miami. He saw the 6th best pass offense. He sees Tyreek Hill. He sees Jalen Waddle. He wants to play on this offense. He sees what Mike McDaniel can do. He wants to play here. So, comment below. What do you think? Again, it's voluntary team activities. It's nothing crazy. I just wanted to show you guys some pictures and stuff. I understand. I read your comments about Robbie Anderson. I read your comments about Dalvin Cook. What is your thoughts on more information coming out? We're getting closer to the draft. Draft is next week, Thursday, Friday. I will be live for both days, even though the Dolphins don't have a first-round pick. I will be live for both days, the Thursday, Friday. Broshmo, we were supposed to do the video today. My daughter woke up, and I was stuck in the room with her for a couple hours. So Broshmo and me are going to record tonight, and the video for the offensive lineman will be out tomorrow. And then I think next week, the beginning of next week, we're going to talk about linebackers, and then we're done. And then mock drafts. How many mock drafts do you want me to do? Like, do you want me to do a video of mock drafts, multiple mock drafts, no trade, and then another video of mock drafts with trades? Comment below, let me know. And also, I have this new series where I go back 3 years and we look at the draft and see how they did. 3 years from now, the past 3 years was the 2020 draft. So it's going to be very interesting. That video is coming out as well. I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. If you're new and you want to subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. Other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Finally, me and Broshmo getting back together. But like usual, stay classy. Offense up.